Hello friends, do I have a beast of a video for you today. I have an unhaul coming. I spent 3 weeks, as if you follow my Twitter you probably saw me talk about this. I spent 3 weeks cataloging my library, rearranging some of the shelves, putting and inputting all of my library into a spreadsheet by genre, by author, by title, page count, details about the author, details about the book, just anything I could think of that I might want to know in the future. I just researched it all and put it all in a spreadsheet, and then I uploaded everything to Storygraph, and then I uploaded everything to Goodreads. So you probably saw my Goodreads account just being blown up with like notifications from me the past couple weeks. So it's finally done. Verdict is that I have 183 books to unhaul today. And even with these 183 books leaving my TBR, that does not include the 554 I currently have still on my physical TBR. And that is very overwhelming. So I feel like I should do a video on my story with books and book buying and really delve into like my emotions on it or something along those lines, just because I feel like I've had a very interesting story and I have definitely like fallen into that fear of missing out and that like instant gratification and that kind of thing, because a lot of these books that I'm unhauling I have not read yet, and a lot of them have actually been recently hauled, but I really sat down and really thought about my tastes, thought about what I like to read, and went through and tried to really sort out like what books am I actually gonna be excited about going into or be excited about reading and picking up, because yeah, there's a lot here I just recently hauled, and like in the moment, that instant gratification, that impulse buy, I was like, yes, I need this, sounds good, I'll pick it up someday. But after reflecting, I'm just like, maybe not the best idea. So it's currently January 21st. And I know it doesn't sound like a big deal, but it's a huge deal for me that I haven't bought a single book yet, other than one special edition set from a book box company. I haven't bought like a single impulse buy yet so far this year. And again, I know that doesn't sound like a big deal because it's only been 3 weeks into the year, but I feel like my mentality has shifted so hard, and I just like took in this huge reality check, and I've just seen how much I've accumulated and really discovered for myself what makes sense. So with that monologue there and that like heart to heart being said, let's get into these books. As I said, there's 183 here. I'm not going to individually show each one. I'm gonna show stacks. I think that'll go a lot smoother. I think if there is one that I really want to talk about, I'll go into it. But otherwise, let's get into these stacks. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention is I'm still a little bit of a cover buyer, but I'm trying to be better about that and actually read the synopsis to determine if I would like it, even though the cover's pretty, before buying. Okay, so first stack, we have some like young adult books here. We've got Solo by Kame Alexander, Talk Bookish to Me by Kate Bromley, The Storm of Life by Amy Rose Capetta, Save the Date by Morgan Matson, A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow by Naomi, and My So-Called Bollywood Life by Nisha Sharma. I've really discovered that young adult contemporary isn't the biggest jam for me, so that is why I'm unhauling those. I haven't read a single one of these, but there you go. The only one I was somewhat hesitant about was A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow, but ultimately I just have so many books that it's like the bottom of the list up there. The next section I have is kind of like YA mystery thriller-esque, and while these books are fun for the one read, I don't think that I would ever pick them up again in the future, just because once you know like the twist, they're not as fun anymore. And I think the same for me goes with like all mysteries in a sense. The few that I can think of off the top of my head that aren't that way for me are like the darker fantasy illusionary retellings like Where Dreams Descend and House of Salt and Sorrows, Caraval, those type of ones. Honestly, like any fantasy mystery, I'm usually pretty chill with keeping and rereading because it's exciting, but just the general like YA mystery doesn't appeal to me after the first read. So some of these I did add to my like list of books that I want to pick up from the library and read, but I don't need them in my physical TBR. The first stack includes part of the Gossip Girl series that I picked up. So we have All I Want Is Everything, Because I'm Worth It, I Like It Like That, You're the One That I Want, Don't You Forget About Me, Scream Queens, and These Vengeful Hearts. Next stack is People Like Us, All Your Twisted Secrets, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, The Cousins, The Cheerleaders, and Little White Lies. This is particularly the stack that I made a list to read from the library. And then I have 4 adult mysteries. I have The Woman in the Window, Christmas Bliss, The Castaways, and The Vacationers. Next, I've also learned that middle grade is very, very hit or miss for me. So these ones are mostly sequels, and if I don't have the original book, I'm not gonna go out of my way to go buy the first book in the series. So these are like middle grade sequels that I'm going to unhaul. So we have Shadow Scale, Tangled in Time, The Burning Queen, Monster High, Thornlight, Dreamwood, and A Dash of Magic. Then I also have this box set of the Enchanted Forest Chronicles that I am unhauling as well. It includes Talking to Dragons, Calling on Dragons, Searching for Dragons, and Dealing with Dragons. Next, I have some graphic novels, and these are just ones that appealed to me in the moment, but not so much anymore. This one's actually kind of funny. I thought it was going to be cool to do a funny series following the rules of this princess guidebook. I think I've moved on from that. So this is the Princess Primer. I'm going to unhaul this. And then the other graphic novels I have are Cece's Journal, Lily the Thief, The Faust Act, The Sand Warrior, Stranger Things, The Other Side, Runaways, and Charting Stars. Next is my pile of like dystopians that I'm not sure I'll ever get to. Also, I have some superhero books that the superheroes themselves don't appeal to me. And then I also have some Stranger Things books that I love the TV show, but after like sitting and thinking about it, I don't think I'd want to read the books for whatever reason. I couldn't tell ya, but there we go. So I'm gonna break this into smaller sections because it's actually a pretty big pile here. So first we have the originals, the program, Batman Nightwalker, A Key to Fear, and X-Men Avengers. And then we have Superman Dawnbreaker, The Darkest Star, Calamity, Suspicious Minds, and Darkness on the Edge of Town. Then I have 4 thick sci-fi here. I've got Sky Without Stars. I think this one is called Saturn's Run, if I remember correctly. It's not got the name on the spine. Cartega, and To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Pliny. The only one I'm like slightly hesitant about this stack is Sky Without Stars, because it's supposed to be Les Mis set in space, which actually sounds pretty cool, but I just don't see myself ever getting to it with the hundreds of other books I've got on my TBR. Next, I have some adult fantasy here that I will be getting rid of. So we have Fable, Edge of the World, Tempest and Slaughter. I was actually excited to kind of pick this one up, but the rest of the series is not in English. Courting Darkness, Burn Bright, The Bone Season, and The Last Magician and the Devil's Thief. Next, I have some historical fiction / adult fiction. And I have never like been one to gravitate towards like historical or adult fiction. I'm not a huge fan of fiction set in our world. I love escaping and reading sci-fi off our world, fantasy off our world, even fantasy, like urban fantasy, kind of where our world has powers isn't my favorite in most cases. So yeah, I just love new worlds, and world building is one of my favorite things to read about. So these were kind of easy for me to get rid of. I'm just like, I feel like there has to be a very specific trope within like our world fiction that I go to, and that would be one is adult romance, like contemporary romance. I do like that. And then I do like Regency romance, if that makes sense. I think that is like my niche era for historical fiction. But things like the 20s or World War II or that kind of thing, I've tried and I just cannot get into for whatever reason. And I've only tried a few, and I know I should try more to really figure it out, but I just don't feel myself drawn to them. I don't gravitate towards them. I don't get excited about the thought of picking them up. So these are gonna be unhauled. So we've got The Solitary Envoy, The Snow Child, The Night Portrait, All for a Story, All for a Sister, and The Cuban Affair. Then I have The Girl in the Green Silk Dress. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know where to put that one. I don't know what genre it goes into. Close Up, Interview with the Vampire, The Book Thief. I do actually want to read The Book Thief. This is just a really torn up copy, so I want to either get it from the library or a new copy. Voices, The Final Hours of Joan of Arc, Anastasia Forever, and The Help. If this was Anastasia like Romanov, I would definitely keep this, but it has nothing to do with the Romanov family, so that is why I'm unhauling that one. Then I have some non-fiction books here. I got them in the moment because they sounded cool in the moment, but just at the time of unhauling my library, I was like, I'm actually never gonna pick these up, so why am I keeping them? We have Out of Avalon. These two, or this one specifically, I actually used quite a bit, but I think I know enough now that I don't need it anymore. So we've got Gods, Demigods, and Demons, an encyclopedia of Greek mythology, and I can always Google what I don't know. Out of Avalon. 211 Things a Clever Girl Can Do, A User's Guide to the Brain, and Anne Boleyn, A King's Obsession. I'm actually interested in this one. I don't feel like keeping it though, so I'm gonna get it from the library. And I know you're probably saying like, why not just keep it until you read it and then unhaul it if you're just gonna go get it from the library? I don't feel like having it on my shelves and taking up space for books that I do want, and I'm not in the mood to read it right this second. So I have a list of books that I would like to read but not necessarily keep, and that is why I have a library list. Next I have some YA fantasy that I just don't really ever see myself getting to. First we have Once a King, Ever the Hunted, Ever the Brave, and then we have books 3, 5, and 6 of the Fallen Kingdom series by Morgan Rhodes. And another YA fantasy pile, I have The Wicked Will Rise, which is a retelling of the Wizard of Oz. I've actually never seen the Wizard of Oz. The Raven and the Dove, Scavenge the Stars, The Diviners, and The Bone Charmer. Then I have Treason of Thorns, The Fascinators, Catching Stars, Midnight Beauties, and Eventide. Last but not least for YA fantasy, I have The Shifter, City of Lost Dreams, City of Dark Magic, Soul Swift, Everland, Umberland, and A Blade So Black. And then here is some adult fiction slash romance that I don't see myself picking up. We have Normal People. Actually, I've already read this one. It should be in my pile of books I've already read. Christmas Shopaholic, The Christmas Sweater, A Life Worth Living, and Matsui Mistletoe. My friend and I actually purchased this one together to buddy read, and she read it before I did and said it wasn't that good, so I'm trusting her opinion on that one. Then I've got Separation Anxiety, Head Over Heels, Meet Cute, I Owe You One, Natalie Tan's Book of Luck and Fortune, The Secret Life of Sarah Hollenbeck, The Reading Group, and Kiss My Cupcake. Next I have some books that are ARCs actually, so advanced readers copies. These are ones I can't sell, but I will be trading them for like my Amazon wish list, or selling them for shipping costs or something along those lines. So I've got They Wish They Were Us, Breath Like Water, The Iron Will of Jeannie Lowe, Throwback, Look, The Vanishing Deep, The Midnight Hour, Love Boat Taipei, A Phoenix First Must Burn, and Riot Baby, and A Kingdom of Souls, We Were Restless Things, and The Candle and the Flame. Alright, all the books that I'm about to So now are actually duplicates, and or I'm getting like better versions of those books. So the first ones I have are The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, and Two Towers. Next I have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue twice, and Iron Widow, and From Blood and Ash. Again, these are duplicates. I'm still keeping most of these. This one is actually a damaged copy of From Blood and Ash, so I got a new copy of that to make up for the damaged copy. I don't know if you can see them, but like right here, they're facing backwards right now because I haven't read them, but I have the hardback versions of From Blood and Ash, so that's why I'm getting rid of the paperbacks. Again, I got the hardback versions, so I'm getting rid of the paperbacks of the Percy Jackson series. And I got the new like illustrated editions of the Cinder series, so that I'm getting rid of the old paperbacks. Similar here, I've got the hardback editions of these Bridgerton books, so I will be unhauling these. It's Bridgerton, The Duke and I, An Offer from a Gentleman, To Sir Philip with Love, and When He Was Wicked. I have the Fairy Leap version of Golden Sun. I found a hardback to match the rest of my hardbacks of City of Fallen Angels. I have the Barnes & Noble editions of the Cruel Prince series, so I'm keeping those. This is also an advanced reader's copy, but I'm getting the hardback of Shadow Frost. This is an edition of The Secret Garden that I don't really need, so I have like 3 other editions, so I'll be unhauling this one. And I have the Fairy Loot edition of Gods and Monsters, so I don't need this first edition. This last stack here, finally, or last pile I should say, I'll probably show it in a couple stacks, is books I've already read but I don't feel like keeping. So first I have A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. I enjoyed the series, but it was kind of a YA fantasy kind of feel, so that is why I'd be unhauling it. Alongside that YA mystery type feel, I also have Sadie, The Inheritance Games, One of Us is Lying, and One of Us is Next. I will actually be sending these to one of my friends. Then I have Wolf by Wolf. I actually read only like 20 pages of this and DNF'd it, which is kind of what gave me a clue that maybe historical fiction is not for me. Next are some like YA contemporary romance I don't ever foresee myself re-picking up. First I have the To All the Boys I've Loved Before series by Jenny Han. Then I have Now That I Found You and You Should See Me in a Crown. And then Love and Luck and Love and Gelato. I actually ended up keeping Love and Olives. I liked that one of the trilogy, but these two did not work for me. Similar to the Love and Other Destinations series, I have Get a Life Chloe Brown and Act Your Age Eve Brown here. I loved and adored Take a Hint Danny Brown, but these two didn't do it as much for me. While we're on the adult romance kick, I did read In a Holidays in December, and it was not my favorite, I can't lie. It was meh. I didn't feel myself like really drawn in, and it almost felt kind of insta-lovey. Like I know the characters knew each other for a while, but it felt like insta-love. And the final books here that I will be unhauling are some graphic novels. I have Check Please volumes 1 and 2, and then Sheets and Delicates. Alright, I have 30 minutes here of footage that I have to go edit, so thank you guys for watching. Let me know if any of these are like, oh, you have to keep that, but I'm probably not going to. Feel free to like throw it down below though. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll check you in my next one. Bye friends!